Hello and welcome. My name's James Whitcomb. I'm the candidate coach. And thanks very much for joining us today for our live workshop, Optimize. Optimize your LinkedIn profile for job seeking. So I'm guessing you've got a LinkedIn profile. I'm guessing you've probably had a LinkedIn profile for quite some time. I think I've had mine for what year in 2022. I think I've had mine for over 10 years, although for the first couple of years, I didn't use it much. So you've probably got a LinkedIn profile. You've probably been on the platform a little bit, but now that it's come time to looking for work, you're wondering how you can best put it together. How can it best reflect your skills, your experience, your achievements? How can it best promote you? How can it best sell you? And how can you best spend your time on the platform? Because from an experienced recruiter's point of view, I can almost notice a lot of the time when someone is desperately looking for work because their LinkedIn activity suddenly goes through the roof. They go from being somebody who you don't really see contributing or getting involved in LinkedIn to somebody who is a little bit over the top with their activity and their behavior. And so, you want to make sure that when you're using LinkedIn for looking for work, you're using it in the right way. So hopefully that's what we're going to do today in our session here. So the title of today is Optimize Your LinkedIn Profile for Job Seeking. So just a little bit of housekeeping today. I am coming to you live via our YouTube channel. We are streaming onto multiple platforms, including our Facebook channel, our LinkedIn channel, our Twitter page. We're also on many of our partner sites. So if you're on one of our partner websites, a very special welcome to you this morning. Thank you for joining us. Because we are streaming live, if I do drop out for any reason, please stay on the line and I will reconnect. Doesn't happen very often, but maybe once or twice a year, given we run these workshops twice a week. Now, feel free to ask questions today. So the chat function is live. If you ask us a question, wherever you're watching, the chat function today, we're going to answer it for you. It's not just going to sit there. And again, at the end of the session today, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions about your LinkedIn profile or just about recruitment in general, whether you've got a resume, cover letter, interview question. We're happy to take any of those questions from you. So today, what am I hoping that you will learn today? Well, what I want you to learn is why LinkedIn matters. So some people are still a little bit skeptical when it comes to LinkedIn, and they're not sure whether LinkedIn is really that important. So I want to share with you firstly why it matters, how you can get yours job seeker ready. So how can you really set your LinkedIn profile up to be ready for you to look for work? And how can you become a respected contributor? LinkedIn is not a set and forget platform. You need to become a contributor. And how do you avoid the biggest LinkedIn mistake, which I see people making all the time? And as I mentioned at the end, there'll be opportunity for questions and answers on your LinkedIn profile or any of the recruitment topics that we present on. Excuse me for just one moment. Alrighty, so a little bit about me before we do kick things off. Who am I and why am I presenting? If I do look like I'm looking over here to the right a little bit today, that's because where my presentation screen is. But I'm a director at Smart Recruitment and have been in recruitment since December 2005, which means over 16 years, coming up to 17 years. In that time, I've conducted 3,000 interviews, 600 group assessments, and placed 1,000 people into work. And when I look at, interviewing that many people, we're probably looking at tens and hundreds of thousands of resumes over that period of time. And often we're looking at LinkedIn profiles too. And launched the Candidate Coach, the platform that we're meeting on today, in December 2019. Alrighty. So let me ask you a question. Feel free to type this into the chat function wherever you're watching. What score would you give your LinkedIn profile out of 10? If you had to give it a score, do you think your LinkedIn profile is pretty good? Are you sort of towards an 8 or a 9? Maybe it's a 10 out of 10. Maybe you're just attending this workshop today just to make sure there's something that you haven't missed, but you're fairly comfortable with the way your LinkedIn profile is set up. Maybe you're at the start. Maybe you're just creating your LinkedIn profile at the moment and you kind of don't know where to start. and so you're giving yourself a low score. Or maybe you're sitting in the middle, you've got a LinkedIn profile, it's got some information there, but look, it's just not getting any cut through, and it just doesn't seem to be adding any value to you at the moment. So give yourself a score. Feel free to type it in. Would love to see how everybody rates their own LinkedIn profile at the moment. All right. So why are we running this session? Why do you think you need to optimize your profile for job seeking? Have a think. Again, feel free to type your answer in here. Why do you need to optimize your profile when you're job seeking? Well, there's one simple reason. It's going to be looked at. Your LinkedIn profile is going to be looked at. Now, whether or not you think that is the right thing to do, whether or not you think that's politically correct, whether you think that's appropriate or okay, LinkedIn is a public social media platform. You can choose to be on there. You can also choose, as I'll show you, to keep yourself private and hidden if you would like. If you don't, guess what? Everyone can see your LinkedIn profile. And guess what? Recruiters, hiring manager, that person you're going for an interview next week, they're probably going to look at your LinkedIn profile. Now, the way the rules work is I can look at your LinkedIn profile if you've applied for a job with me, but what I cannot do is I cannot make a decision based on your suitability for the job from your LinkedIn profile. Now, that sounds really complicated and hard to do. So how do I actually separate those two things? I've seen your LinkedIn profile. You're applying for a job. I'm actually not allowed to put the two of them together. That's what the law says. But guess what? It's actually impossible to do. Even if I'm a very experienced recruiter and I'm really conscious of doing that, I've still got what's called unconscious bias. Everyone has unconscious bias. And when I've seen your LinkedIn profile, perhaps when I've seen your photo, it brings up unconscious bias in my own mind. So you need to be aware and you need to acknowledge, you need to accept that your LinkedIn profile is going to be looked at. If you don't want it to be looked at, turn it off or delete it. Don't have one at all. I wouldn't recommend that, but that's what you can do. So kind of for the rest of the workshop today then, how do we embrace that fact? Okay, prospective employers are going to look at my LinkedIn profile. Let's turn it into an advantage. Imagine if I had the best LinkedIn profile out of everybody who's applied for a job. Would that make a difference? Let's have a look at LinkedIn users in Australia. This is going back 2 years now, but 11 million people were registered on LinkedIn. 11 million people were registered on LinkedIn. You can see the main age demographic there is 25 to 34-year-olds, but we have usage across all demographics there. So it's being used. It is very, very common. It's obviously the most common, I guess, corporate social media platform, if you want to call it that. It's certainly more corporate than LinkedIn. It's more corporate. It's more corporate than Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, obviously TikTok. Certainly starting to see a lot more of that type of content on LinkedIn. It is maybe becoming slightly less professional, but it is still a very important tool for you to use. All right, let's get stuck in. Now, what I'm going to do throughout the rest of the session is I'm going to share my LinkedIn profile with you. So I'm going to bring my LinkedIn profile up on the screen. Actually, it's my LinkedIn profile from a couple of months ago. I continue, as I'll talk about today, I continue to edit my LinkedIn profile because it's a live thing. It's like your Facebook profile. You can change your profile picture. You can change your background picture. You can change your details. So I'm going to share my profile with you today just by way of showing you where to click through. Now, I have worked on my LinkedIn profile a lot. I think I've got around about 18 to 19,000 followers. I'm really proud of that. I think that's because I would like to think it's because I produce some good content, but I've worked really hard on my LinkedIn profile over a decade, really, to establish myself on the platform and to build my followers. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of an insight into my LinkedIn profile. So you'll see it on the screen here and you'll recognize this view. This is what you see on your own home screen a lot of the time, how your LinkedIn profile looks up. So what I'm highlighting to begin with, up in the top right-hand corner there in the yellow, you'll see it says here, edit your public profile and your URL. So that's what we're going to click on, edit your public profile and your URL. And again, you can come back and watch the steps from today's workshop again, because this video will go straight onto our YouTube channel once it's completed. So we're going to click on that essentially. We're going to click up here on edit public profile and URL. That then brings us to this next screen here. Now, we're going to work our way down the right-hand side of the screen here. I want to start off by highlighting at the very top here, you can edit your custom URL. So your URL is the actual address of your LinkedIn profile. So as you can see here for mine, it's linkedin.com/in/james-whitcomb-30B69213. Now, I've actually personally not made the effort to go and customize my URL, but I probably should. You can too. So you can just have linkedin.com/yourname1 or whatever you like it to be. It doesn't have to be really long. I'd really suggest that you do that, particularly if you are including your LinkedIn profile on your resume or your cover letter. I know a lot of you are. Many of you are actually including it on there as a hyperlink, which looks really cool. But if you're sharing your LinkedIn profile, customize that URL. It looks professional. It looks neat. It kind of helps to make you look like, you're savvy. We've then got edit content. So as it says here, this is your public profile. To edit its contents, update your profile. So that's what we're going to do. So first of all, edit visibility. So as it says here, you control your profile's appearance. For people who are not signed into LinkedIn, the limits you set here affect how your profile appears on search engines, profile badges, and permitted services like Outlook. So a couple of things we can do here. When we go into edit content, we choose what people are logged in see. When we go to here, we're editing our visibility. So first of all, your profile's public visibility. We've turned it on. Now, if you're really worried that you don't want people to look at your profile at all, maybe just while you're looking for work, you can turn it off. Make your profile invisible. I probably wouldn't suggest you do that though. I would much rather you embrace LinkedIn because I think you've got far more to gain than you have to lose. Far more to gain by having a good profile than what you've got to lose by being worried about it. But we can actually choose here who sees what and what we show. So if we've got it on, what do we want to show? The basic stuff's required. So name, number of connections, and region. But we can see who sees our photo. So maybe you are like, look, I don't want people to see my photo, particularly when I'm looking for work. So we can actually choose. We can have only first degree connections. So that's the people you were connected with already. That's people who you connect with. Only they can see your photo. Therefore, people can only see your photo if you choose to accept them. Maybe your network. So your network is your connection up to 3 degrees away from you. That is a lot of people. That's probably nearly all of Australia, the way LinkedIn works. Or all LinkedIn members. Now, public. So all LinkedIn members on or off LinkedIn. Your content can be visible and in search results like Google and Bing. So what are people going to see? So here we can turn things on and off. Background photo. That's the photo up the top here. Headline. Websites, summaries, article and activities. Our experience. So that's a big part of LinkedIn. Do we want to turn that off? Or do we want to have the current experience headline, but not the details? So on and so forth. So you, in summary, can really control who sees your LinkedIn profile information. The great thing about this is it's not something that you can't just change temporarily. It is. You can come and change it for one day if you want, 1 hour, and then you can revert it back. So if you want to edit some of these settings just while you're looking for work, go ahead and do that. Your LinkedIn is a fluid tool. You can come back and change it later on. All right, so let's get into actually some of the details then. So what we've got here is the header or the banner image. Now, LinkedIn offer you some options here. You can choose from their portfolio. I'm not sure how many they have there at the moment. I think it was half a dozen last time. But what I'd really encourage you to do is to customize and make your own. See, I've made my own here. It just says the candidate coach with the website. When I'm doing more work on behalf of Smart Recruitment, I change it back to Smart Recruitment. But if we have a look, I want to take you to a website here, and you'll see it in the top left-hand corner called Canva, canva.com. And what we can do here is we can type in LinkedIn banner, and what comes up for us is a whole range of LinkedIn banners. So as you'll see, they're all that long horizontal style. Now, Can I zoom in a bit? I've got a big presentation screen. No, it's not going to change. I'll zoom into one in a moment. Now, what you'll notice if you just scroll down here, first of all, you've got, I don't know, there's probably hundreds, there's maybe thousands that we can choose from. And then we can edit them and we can upload them as well. So I might just pick one here to show you how easy it is to edit one of them. So let's say I like let me just pick one that I probably would use. This one here is pretty cool. Let's have a look at this one. Alrighty, so clicked on one particular LinkedIn banner here. That's Rufus Stewart. Actually, this might not be a great example because all I can do is, oh yeah, I can edit that photo. Okay, all right. So let's say we like this one. Well, first thing we're going to do, we've got to delete that photo of him because it's not me. But as you see, everything here is editable. So I would put in my name. And I would put in the job, I'm a recruiter, so I'd put in recruiter. Any of these things here, we can change around, we can edit. If I want to upload my photo, let me see, where am I? I could put my own photo into this as well. So I can continue to muck around. So this is a really great tool. It is really great because when I've finished here, I can simply just download it and then I can go and upload that to LinkedIn. So that's going to give you a really nice customized top part of your LinkedIn page, which is going to look really quite different. You don't have to use a photo. I'll just put a photo in there because that's what somebody else has used. So go away, muck around with it. Again, create a couple of different ones that you like. It might change. It will certainly change as your career changes. So we can customize that. And then straight away, when I see that on someone's LinkedIn profile, to me, I'm like, okay, they care about their profile. They want to stand out. They want to look a little bit different. And this is a great way of doing so at the top of the page. All righty. Now, your profile photo, it is friendly and professional. That's it, friendly and professional. So the most important thing probably there is the professional part. It's not a photo from you at a wedding or the football. It shouldn't have anybody else in the photo. It shouldn't have your pet in it unless you're a vet, for example. But as you can see there, just a friendly, approachable looking photo, and it's a headshot. Who are you? So right here, so what I've got written here is agency director and candidate coach. You've got a number of characters here. You can change this around. Again, people think, oh, I can only put one thing in here and I can never change it. If you're looking for work at the moment, put accounting graduate looking for work. Be bold, be brave, be obvious in terms of what you are looking for at the moment. And then when you get a job, guess what? Come and change it because you're no longer an accounting graduate looking for work. You are an accountant. So this information here, you can play around with. Likewise with the about section, I want you to really make a statement here. Really make a statement. So I've written that I'm passionate about recruitment and finding the very best staff for our clients. That's what the best agencies do. And I'm just as passionate about coaching candidates and giving them the very best chance. Now, if you're looking for work, make a statement here. So maybe you're expanding. If you put accounting graduate looking for work, maybe put high distinction accounting student actively looking for work in Melbourne, really passionate about, and mention what you're really passionate about in terms of recruitment. So here we are making a statement. Again, when you've landed a job, come and change it. Or if it's not working and you want to change it after 3 days, you can come and change it again. But this is really important part of your profile. It's right up the top here. What you can see on your screen here now is kind of like the front page of your resume. It needs to be bold. It needs to be eye-catching because if you don't have good information at the top, people aren't really going to feel like scrolling down. So make the most about this. Just because it's words doesn't mean it can't be really powerful. Alrighty, now the featured section, a lot of people kind of don't understand the featured section or know what to do here. So LinkedIn allow you to put multimedia here, basically. So you can choose to put a YouTube video if you like. You can choose to put a news link. You could choose to put an article, a document if you like. What I've got here is a couple of things. So I was fortunate enough to win an industry award a couple of years ago. And that was an article talking about it. And that was a video from the awards ceremony, an interview that I gave. And then the third thing there is an article that I've written just around recruitment methodology. So this is a really great way for you to stand out. Now, if you've got any achievements, you could put a photo here of yourself. If you had a photo of you at work winning an award, put something here that is going to show how good you are. Maybe I don't necessarily put your academic transcript, but maybe something along those lines to really highlight if you're a student, some things you've done, or if you're an employee, some awards you've done. Find something here. Find something here to make yourself stand out. As I said, this part of your LinkedIn profile page is so important because it's what we see first. And it's kind of what makes us decide or not whether we want to keep on scrolling down the page. But if we do scroll down the page below that, we then get into experience and education. So you'll be very familiar with this part. Now, a mistake that a lot of people make here is that they just kind of dump their whole resume here. You don't dump your whole resume here. So, I mean, as you can see from my second job there, I've been at Smart Recruitment since November 2005, nearly 15 years. This is an old screenshot. But I've only got one paragraph. I haven't got my whole resume. What I like about LinkedIn profiles is it is more concise and it is briefer, and it allows the recruiter or whoever's looking at it to get a really good understanding of who you are and what you've done in a concise way. So, dates. The dates that I've got here on the LinkedIn profile for each job, the companies, the job titles, the qualifications down here, my education, they must match your resume. They must match your resume. As a recruiter, I'm really concerned if I get your resume and I look at your LinkedIn profile and they're not the same. Whether there's a missing job here or a different date here, that concerns me. My job as a recruiter is to be quite skeptical. So if I see a date that's wrong or something that's inconsistent, I'm going to really want to pry. So make sure yours match. Make sure yours match. The descriptions, though, as I've said, they can be different. The descriptions can be different. And again, you have the opportunity with some of them, as you can see here, I listed the website. You can include some multimedia. Don't go over the top here. I would probably suggest, not much more actually than I've already put there. But if you are going to put information, highlight your achievements. Highlight your achievements. All right, so my question for you is, what do you think the biggest mistake is? What is the biggest mistake that people make on their LinkedIn profile? What do you think it is? Have you made some mistakes yourself with your LinkedIn profile or your activity on LinkedIn? I'm really keen to hear from you what your biggest mistake is. I'll give you a moment to maybe type an answer into the comments box. So the biggest mistake that people make with their LinkedIn profile is that they go and they set up their profile and they spend 20 hours getting it perfect, and then they do nothing. They do absolutely nothing. They maybe log in, they have a look around, and then they leave. LinkedIn is a social media platform. Think about Facebook. Think about Instagram. You can go on there and you can scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and you can be entertained. But if you're not contributing, people are not interacting with you. LinkedIn is a social media platform. It needs you to contribute. You are going to get 10 times more value out of LinkedIn if you contribute. So what do I mean by contributing? Well, there's several ways here. As you'll see at the top, we can start a post. And we can start a post by uploading a photo, a video, a document, writing an article, or just sharing a thought. They also offer, what do you talk about today? So what do you want to talk about today? And below that, you can see these buttons as well. We can celebrate an occasion, find an expert, share a profile, add a job, create a poll, or offer help. If you want to become respected on LinkedIn, you need to contribute. People are not going to follow you. People are not going to interact with you. People are not going to think you've got a great profile if you're not contributing and interacting. So what I would really encourage you to do is to be regular and to be systematic. It doesn't need to be 3 posts a day. It doesn't even need to be daily posting. I would say twice a week is probably the sweet spot, maybe even once a week. But so let's say 1.5 times a week, or maybe we're saying 6 times a month posting on LinkedIn. Now, posting on LinkedIn can be as simple as share an article that you're interested in. So what I'd really encourage you to do is think about your purpose. So if you're looking for work at the moment, you want to appeal, to job seekers as somebody who's a good candidate, who knows their industry and knows their market well. So maybe you're sharing some interesting articles, some industry news, something that's up to date, and saying, hey, network, I read this article. I found it really interesting. What are your thoughts? It can be as simple as doing that. It can be as simple as copying and pasting. What happens over time is people start to notice, and they're not going to notice in an obvious way, but you start to become known for sharing good content, even if it's only copying and pasting links from other sources. So the other way we contribute is by interacting, and this is even easier, simply liking people's posts, liking, commenting, or sharing. Sometimes I deliberately scroll down my feed and like the content of people whose radar I want to get on. So if you're looking for work at the moment, go and interact with the posts from the people who you want to work for. Write a comment. Guess what? They'll probably read your comment. If they've made a post, you write a comment, they will probably read it. Guess what? They've just noticed your name. So contribute, share, tag people, put your thoughts in. It's a really good way of standing out on LinkedIn and getting noticed. Now let's talk about connecting with people. This happens a lot. I will get today probably a dozen LinkedIn connection requests. This is often how they come across. This is a really common way for them to come across. Hi, I'm looking for engineering jobs. My resume is attached. Mark. Now, in some ways, good on Mark. He's actually reaching out. He's not sitting at home doing nothing. He's looking for work. But he's approached me really poorly. I would not reply to Mark. That might sound really rude, but I get a lot of these a day. And so I'm probably not going to take the time to reply to Mark, because, as I'll show you now, he's not taking the time to actually write to me properly. Here's what Mark should have written. Hi, James. So straight away, you'll notice the difference. He's used my name. There's no reason on LinkedIn to not use the person's name. I really enjoy the content that you share here on LinkedIn, especially your recent article about resumes. So he started off by paying me a compliment, a great way to start off a message. And that's easy for him to find if he's looked at my profile. Due to COVID, I'm unfortunately in the employment market. I'm a trained engineer. However, to get busy again, I'd consider most work. Where do you think the best place to find work is at the moment? Thank you, Mark. So this is great. In that second paragraph, he's told me that he wants engineering work, but guess what? He's open to anything. And he might have been in that first message on the left there, but I don't know. And then he's actually asked me a question. He's trying to engage me. Where do you think the best place is to find work at the moment? So guess what? If I get the message on the left, I wouldn't reply. If I get the message on the right, I probably would reply. Now, the reply I send might not necessarily help Mark much, blah, 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 but he's going to get a reply. He's going to get a communication chain going. I'm probably going to have a look at his LinkedIn profile. So use something like the template on the left. You can approach people on LinkedIn. You should approach people on LinkedIn, but you need to do it in the right way. You need to show that you know them, pay them a compliment if you like, tell them what you're looking for and go into a little bit of detail, but also show that you're open and ask an open-ended question. Ask an open-ended question. It won't get you, if you send 100 of these, you won't get 100 replies, but you'll get enough. I guarantee it. Asking for recommendations. You may or may not have seen this on your LinkedIn profile, but if you scroll down towards the bottom, you can ask for recommendations. They're like references, and they just sit there over time. So if you look at this bottom one here on my profile from Sang Dang, he gave this recommendation for me in 2014. We've probably not spoken since then. That was 8 years ago. Martin Duffy, 2015, Stuart, 2016, Torsten, 2018, Maria, 2019. Ask for recommendations. Ask a previous employer. Ask a previous manager. That will stay there forever. And it helps to make you look professional. And I've given 10 recommendations. Do you know why I've given 10 recommendations? Those 10 people asked me to. The good thing about giving a recommendation on LinkedIn, as you can see there, is it's only just a paragraph. It's easy for the person to do. So your LinkedIn profile in summary, it takes time, but it's an investment in your future. So I want you to think about that scenario again. Maybe when you get a job, let's say you get a job in 2 weeks, fantastic, you start and you think, I kind of don't need my LinkedIn profile for a while now. I would really encourage you to still continue to visit LinkedIn and contribute. So in 2 years' time from now, when maybe you are looking for work again, you're not sort of dusting off your LinkedIn profile and picking it up fresh again. You've been contributing over time. You've been investing time into your LinkedIn profile. So we need to continue to invest time into our LinkedIn profile if we want it to be good. Now, if you're still wanting more LinkedIn assistance, jump on to LinkedIn, the website, and they have a profile checklist. And there's some extra information in there. Probably not extra. There's far more information than I've given you today. Or jump on Google and type in LinkedIn profile checklist. There's a lot of resources available to you if you want to build a great LinkedIn profile. Now, if you're still wanting more assistance more generally in terms of job hunting, head to our candidate coaching platform, where you can watch up to 14 video coaching episodes. Everything from how to write resumes and cover letters to stand out well at interview, negotiate a salary offer. We've got resume and cover letter templates for you to download. We have interview questions that you can download specific to industries, like the one on the screen there is common administration interview questions. We have online tests that you can take. You can take an online test and get your results instantly to know how you fare. You can download checklists. Again, the one on the screen there, video interview checklists. Make sure that you're best prepared for that video interview. We have articles that you can read. We have specific advice for executive job seekers who are at the senior or the pointy end of the market. And we advertise all of our live upcoming workshops, and all of this is available to you for free. Go and check it out. Now, before we finish today, I would love to ask you to take 2 minutes to complete our feedback survey. This feedback survey really helps us to understand what value you received from today's workshop. But we also ask you in it, what more would you like to know about? What workshops can we provide in the future? What other topics are important to you? And please also do follow our LinkedIn company page. So it's linkedin.com/company/the candidate coach, or simply jump on to LinkedIn and type in the candidate coach. It is all one word. There is another the candidate coach in the UK. Don't follow him or her by accident. The candidate coach, you'll recognize our logo. Follow us for updates. Now, before we finish today, or we will finish today with a little video. This is a really important video. This video talks about some of the mental health challenges that all job seekers face that most job seekers don't want to talk about. So thanks for watching our workshop today. We look forward to seeing you at our next one. Bye-bye for now.
If you're not feeling terrific at the moment and you feel like your mental well-being has taken a little bit of a dip, please remember this is not going to last forever. There's lots you can do to manage your mental health and get back on top of it. I am Dr. Sarah Barker. I'm a clinical psychologist. I've worked in workplace mental health with Black Dog Institute for the past 7 years. I work with a lot of adults and young people, mainly with anxiety, depression, trauma as well, a range of issues, and many who are looking for work and undergoing that process of trying to find employment. Looking for work causes mental strain because our identity is tied up with our work. Work gives us meaning, it gives us purpose, it gives us company and connection. So it's stressful for lots of reasons looking for work, and it can take a toll on our mental health. It's really important for us to be aware of the signs that our well-being and our mental health might be dropping. Probably the biggest sign is changes in behaviour. So that might be changes in the way we're thinking or talking to ourselves. We might be saying things like, who would employ me? I'll never get a job. We might be really down on ourselves and really hard and critical on ourselves when normally we're not so hard and critical. We might also, in our relationships, change our behaviour. We might be more snappy or more irritable with people that we love, that normally we might be a little bit irritable sometimes, but not irritable in that way. Losing interest in things that usually sparked us and ignited us and gave us joy. So perhaps usually we like walking the dog and suddenly we start thinking, I can't be bothered walking the dog today. That sort of thing, those changes in behaviour are really significant because they tell us that something's different, and if we're noticing, I suppose, more than one of those and it's affecting the way we feel, and this is over a period of say 2 weeks or longer, then it's a really good idea to have a chat to a GP that you trust, and find out what might be going on, have a discussion and see if there's any physical reasons for that, or if perhaps your mental health and wellbeing might be able to do with a little bit of extra support, and then the GP can refer you on to see a psychologist, a counsellor, whoever is most appropriate for you. There are so many great things you can do to look after your mental health when you're looking for work, and it's really important that you do. My very top tip would be really talking kindly to yourself and being compassionate with yourself. I think when we're looking for work, we can have a lot more questions like, will I ever get a job? Will I ever be employed? It can feel like this could go on forever. So being kind to ourselves and saying things like, it will work out. There will be a day. My efforts will be rewarded. It will just take time. I just need to keep trying. Reminding yourself of your strengths. And that might even be tapping into people you love and asking them what your strengths are, because sometimes it's harder to find them when our mood's a bit low and we're feeling more worried. We can be harder on ourselves. I think that routine is really, really important to our well-being. When we're looking for work, we mightn't have such a regular routine because there mightn't be a 9 to 5 start and finish time for a job, or there isn't. So instead, thinking about looking for work as a job in itself can be helpful. Having a start time and a finish time can be really helpful, and some set tasks that you hope to achieve that day. Purpose is really important too. So purpose might come through routine, but it can also come through other things. Meaning's really important, and our work gives us meaning. So when we're looking for work, meaning mightn't feel like it's there as much. Part of what we can do is infuse those tasks with meaning. So I am doing these things today, I'm looking for work, and that is meaningful in itself because there's an end goal to this. It will be something that's good for me and good for the people that I love as well. Some excellent resources for looking after well-being when looking for work are the Headgear app. The Headgear app is free, it's evidence-based, it's developed by Black Dog Institute, and it is fun to use. It uses mindfulness, so a technique to really help us relax and reduce physiological arousal, which can often occur when we're feeling anxious. It's got a 30-day challenge, which is just short, bite-sized little challenges to extend your well-being and grow your well-being, and that can be really extra important when we're looking for work. There are also some really terrific resources available through the Black Dog Institute. One of them is a beautiful self-care plan that encourages you to think about your top coping tips, the things that personally work best for you, that are positive coping strategies. Another really good resource is through Beyond Blue, and they've got some excellent resources to look after mental health while looking for work, and also when people are recently out of work as well. probably time to seek professional assistance when you notice your mood is lower and you're feeling more down than usual, when you're worrying more and perhaps worrying excessively about things that you wouldn't normally worry about, and perhaps in your relationships too, when you're more tense with people and perhaps more snappy or irritable. All of these are signs that perhaps our mood is not in the greatest space, and our well-being is not in the greatest space, and that it can be a great idea then to chat to your GP, who can then refer you to an appropriate person to help you strengthen your well-being. It's very common for people to have a dip, but please know that that's not going to last forever, and that there's lots you can do through looking after yourself, but also through getting access to professional support that can really give you a boost again and get you back feeling good as you're looking for work.